I was hired by a public adjuster to go in and evaluate the current condition of a building because their fire suppression system froze over the winter and thousands of gallons went into the building. And a water damage restoration came in and did some work and they got kicked off the job. So I was hired to determine when you are hired to do this, there are four things that you have to do. One is determine, is the building dry so reconstruction can begin. Second is there microbial contamination present that has to be removed before reconstruction can begin. Next is the demolition, which is required by IICRCS 500, been completed before reconstruction and dry out has been completed. And then the fourth item is contents. And so what is the status of contents and what has to be done? Because contents are like destroyed with water. When you are a property manager or you own a facility, you should have expectations of the company that's going to be doing the dry out. And these are the four things that you should really pay attention to. And from the restoration, and the reason I was called in is because the restoration company refused to disclose any of the documentation of their work. And you have to have that. So one suggestion is to have an upfront understanding about the documentation that's going to be given to you if you're going to hire a restoration company. You know, how payment is going to be handled if they don't do their job. The other thing I wanted to mention was that when this restoration company was doing this dry out, they only used maybe 10% of the fans that are required. And they didn't use hardly any of the dehumidifiers that are required. And it's a huge building. So, you know, how they did their work and what was the extent of the water problem, it's an unknown thing. So walk into this kind of a project with an understanding that you don't know much about anything except the physical evidence and the symptoms of what the restoration company left behind. All right, this is a tough one to work on. And with mold contamination, you have to define the difference between what happened after the water loss and what was pre-existing conditions. Bob Bennett, Farsight Management. Better to use Farsight than hindsight.